What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Connie. I'm feeling refreshed, feeling rejuvenated after our off day yesterday, which was much needed because last week I didn't do a video on the Tuesday, but I still made a bunch of bets because I was pissed about the Monday. So it had been like 15 or 16 straight days, which by the end of Monday night, I was just staring at the lines like they were hieroglyphics, man. Couldn't make heads or tails of it. It is very important to take a mental break when you do this each and every day, especially because we'd had a couple crappy days. We went 0-3 on Sunday, 0-2-1 on Monday. The only push was with the Leafs game. They ended up going to 7. It was 1-1 after the first period against Buffalo. It was looking good, but that was a push. So 0-2-1 on the week. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I have two things to discuss. First things first, March Madness starts today, and the tournament really gets going tomorrow. Look, college basketball is not my forte. It's not my specialty. There's going to be an infinite number of sources to give you college basketball bets on a day-to-day basis. I might sprinkle a few in, but it's not going to be a daily thing. I just don't know enough to give you an educated opinion. But what I have done, and I will tell you, as I filled out my bracket, I've got to my Final Four, and I've placed a bet on all of those four to win the national championship, because if any one of them does, it covers all of our bets. And obviously the hope is to get one from each side in the championship game, and we can play off of that. So I've got Houston at plus 550. I've got Alabama at plus 800. I've got Purdue at plus 1200. And I've got UCLA at plus 1400. I'm laying 1.25 units on all of those bets. And again, the opportunity, if all four make the Final Four, we're laughing. We can just sit back, watch the game, have some fun. If two of them are in the championship game, same deal. But we can play off of that if one or two make it. Any one of those bets wins, any one of those teams wins the championship, we cover all of our bets and then some easily. So Houston, Alabama, Purdue, UCLA, those are my bets for college basketball. The second thing I want to mention, all three of the bets that I'm going to talk to you today about have positive CLV, so the lines have changed in a positive direction. I haven't bet on the NBA in a little while. I've told you why. Guys aren't playing. It's that weird type of the season. So I'm going to preface this by saying if anything funky happens, like for example, I've got the Clippers bet. If Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are last minute scratches, we're going to punt these picks, meaning I'm just going to bet on Golden State and cover our bet. I'm not going to go into these games with LA Clippers -2 with two of their best players out with -17 CLV and get smoked because of that. Because if I'm betting NBA and I'm making the bets the night before, it's very difficult 24 hours in advance. So if anything funky happens, if Jason Tatum doesn't play, if Jaylen Brown doesn't play, if these lines move drastically, and I will talk about this on my Twitter, at Tyler Connium, I'm going to punt these picks, either cash out if it's available, or just bet on the other side, okay? That's how we're going to be able to get through betting on the NBA before we get to the playoffs. So let's kick this off with the Boston Celtics at the Minnesota Timberwolves. We've got Boston 47-22. We've got Minnesota 35-34. This line, I got this last night, Boston -4. Even though they're on the road, Minnesota's only 20-16 at home, so they're above 500, but they're not great. Boston's been a great road team at 21-13. Boston is coming off a loss at Houston 2 nights ago. I think they're going to be angry. I think they're going to be a little bit upset. They're in the midst of a long road trip. They were at Atlanta and at Houston. Tonight they're in Minnesota, and they're going to Portland, Utah, Sacramento. They're right in the middle of this road trip, so it's not like they're on the first game where they're just getting adjusted, or they're in the last game where they just want to go home. They're right in the midst of this, so I look for them to come into this game a little bit angry. Minnesota's coming off a win at Atlanta, but previous to that had lost to Brooklyn and Philadelphia. The Celtics are 17-5 ATS in their last 22 Wednesday games, which is an interesting stat, but I do like that. Timberwolves are 0-4 ATS in their last 4 home games. They have not played very well at home. Celtics are 5-1 in the last 6 times they have played in Minnesota, and they're 15-5-1 in their last 21 meetings overall. With injuries currently, Robert Williams is out. For Boston, on Minnesota's side, you've got Gobert questionable, Rivers questionable, Reed is questionable, Towns still out. So I like the Boston Celtics to rebound after their loss at Houston, beat the Minnesota Timberwolves by 4 tonight. We've got that for -110 at FanDuel. Moving to a marquee matchup tonight, assuming everybody plays, we've got the Golden State Warriors visiting the Los Angeles Clippers. Both teams come into this 36-33, but Golden State has been bollocks on the road, 7-26. Clippers come into this 18-5 at home. The Warriors have lost their last 3 games on the road at Memphis, at OKC, at Lakers, lost all 3 of those. They have won the last 2 at home against Milwaukee and at home against Phoenix. Those are 2 big wins. Clippers are coming into this, however, on a 3-game winning streak. They've beat Memphis, Toronto, and New York, all of those at home, and they've got another home game coming up against Orlando. So they're just sitting pretty in LA, which I like. Clippers have been playing a lot of under games. They're starting to get their defense in order. They're starting to get ready for the playoffs. On the injury side, Norm Powell is out for the Clippers. For Golden State, Iguodala is out. Kuminga is probable, but we'll see. Peyton is still out, and they're still without Andrew Wiggins. So to get this by a bucket, LA Clippers -2 at home. That's it. Assuming Kawhi and Paul George both play against a team that is 7-26 on the road. Clippers are one of the favorites to win the NBA title despite their record because they've got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Yes, Steph Curry is back. Yes, Klay Thompson has played well, but I like the home court advantage. And so give me the LA Clippers -2 for -114 at Bet99. And my last bet of the day is an NHL bet. We're going to an interesting game. It's the New York Islanders, the Anaheim Ducks. I don't think I've ever bet on either of these teams before. Islanders come into this 34-27-3. Ducks come into this 22-35-7. Ducks are crappy at home. Islanders are crappy on the road. I am looking for this game to go under the total of 6. That's -115. So you might look at this and go, well, Anaheim is 35-30 to the over this season, but the Islanders are 37-29 to the under. They've got better goaltending, and Anaheim just doesn't score a lot of goals. When you look at their recent games, they did score 4 in their last game, but previous to that, 3-2-2, 3-2, 4-2. They're not scoring a ton of goals. And when you look at the New York Islanders, they've scored 2-1, 4-3, 4-2. They're really not scoring all that much either, but I do think they have better goaltending. Under is 10-2 in the Islanders' last 12 against the Western Conference. Under is 8-2-1 in their last 11 after scoring 2 or less goals in their previous game. When you look at Anaheim, the under is 4-0 in their last 4 against the East and 7-0-2 in their last 9 against a team with a losing record. These are 2 bad teams. The under is 6-0-1 the last 7 times these 2 teams have played in Anaheim, which is interesting. So this could go one of 2 ways. This could end up being a 2-1 final, a 1-0 final, or like an 8-6 final. So feel free to fade this side. We've had some bad luck with NHL overs recently, but I do like this game to go under. So that I got for -115 at DraftKings. A reminder, if any of these NBA lines go funky, at Tyler Conium on Twitter, I'm just going to punt these picks, bet on the other side, and just be done with it. So your bets for Wednesday are as follows. Give me the Boston Celtics -4 for -110 at FanDuel. Give me the LA Clippers for -2. That's -114 at Bet99. And give me the Anaheim Ducks and the New York Islanders to go under 6 for -115 at DraftKings. Feel free to drop a comment if you're fading or following. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Conium for more picks and props throughout the day. TikTok and Instagram for just the picks portions, and audio versions available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We're back into it. We're feeling good. Let's talk sports.